Okay, so we have a few minutes here, 5 till 9, 6 till 9. Kyle.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it, buddy.
I want you to tell me everything. In 5 minutes or less.
In living color.
You were driving. I'm going to conduct this interview somehow here. You were driving one day. Now, when was this? When?
What was it, 5 weeks ago?
Like a month ago.
Yeah, something like that.
That was the same day my furniture was delivered. Yeah, it was like a month.
Well, then in that case, everybody knows it was June 27th then.
It was like 4 or 5 weeks ago.
A very comfy sofa at home.
Me.
Yeah, so I was in the neighborhood. I stopped by.
Nothing changed, does it?
The broker disco host is in your neighborhood. I'm sorry.
And
Stop.
I was parked outside the house, and actually while I was there, I saw RJ and Robin getting out of their car.
The Periwinkle Cadillac.
No, it wasn't the Periwinkle Cadillac.
The other car.
Yeah, the other vehicle. And I saw them walk up the house, so I knew they were home.
Were they driving down US, 76?
Our interstate.
And just for the record,
yeah,
the Periwinkle Cadillac, we've been talking about that for 10 years.
Right.
So that's no secret that we're giving away. We used to talk all the time about that beautiful. We'll have to ask him if he still... Did you ask him? Does he still have the
I did not ask.
I love that Cadillac.
Yeah. So, I went up, as I said earlier, knocked on the door. He answered, and we stood there for a minute or two talking on the stoop, and then, he invited me in.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. So you knock on the door, or you ring the bell, or whatever.
Right.
And he's got a lot of steps, if I recall. There were a lot of steps.
Yep.
So you go up the steps.
Hello. I waited a minute to knock because I was winded.
You were winded? It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a big
You
one.
know who it is.
So you go up there, you knock on the door, and he answers. He has no idea who you are.
Correct.
So what do you say?
Hello. This is RJ. Who's this?
I just said, RJ,
Yes.
I'm Kyle DeWitt from the Radio Racket. How you doing? And I extended my hand. He extended his back. We shook hands.
His jaw didn't drop.
No.
The porch didn't shake.
No, there were no lightning strikes, nothing.
Worlds colliding.
And
Okay,
like I said,
okay.
we made small talk for a minute or two on the step. He invited me in, and by this time, Robin was there.
You're never going to believe who's here.
And Robin said she knew immediately who I was, because she knew my voice.
Sound of the voice, yep.
And it came in. He started to show me around the house. It's got there's like 3 rooms on the first level, and he showed me. He's got a bunch of posters and pictures of everything he's done in his career, and
I can believe that.
Pictures of him and Dick Clark and John Facenda, and there's pictures of everybody. And we just started talking, and I said to him, "Look,"
And I ran around many times together.
Okay.
and I just said, RJ, this is mind you, it's the first time I've ever met him, and because everybody else in the room has met him previously.
This gentleman is responsible for RJ.
And we just talked, and I said, "Look, one of the first things, because why I don't want to play
laid it out
punches.
there. Yeah.
I put it out there. I said, RJ, it's been 10 years since we started the show. 10 years since your 2 or 3 appearances via the phone,
Including that last one.
right? And we'd love to have you on to talk about it all. And through
Let's not get in the radio. I'm so sick of radio.
So, come on, Jeff, man. We're about to have the guy on.
I almost spit up my water. I was drinking my bottled water, listening to Kyle's story, and he hit that, and I thought I was going to lose it all over the ward back.
Are you trying to provoke what happened 10 years ago again?
I think he is.
I agree.
Don't sell him short.
I agree.
That's very possible.
And I ended up spending.
I have no animosity towards RJ. At least not now.
I ended up spending an hour and 15 minutes. We then went from the front room to the dining room, and eventually we settled in the kitchen. He offered me a drink, and what was it?
RJ only drinks
Coca-Cola, baby.
RJ doesn't drink, see? I just drink Coca-Cola.
So I had a Coca-Cola sitting at the kitchen table with Robin and RJ, and we had a beautiful conversation.
At any point, were you afraid that he was going to murder you and place your body parts in his crawl space?
I was not worried about that at all. There was really no animosity. I mean, we
Well, he invited you into his home. It's
Right.
not like he knew you were coming and said,
No.
"Honey, get the axe ready."
I didn't give him
I mean, get him a drink.
But you did say, though, you said that Robin knew who you were immediately.
Yeah, but
and was that because? Okay, so that was I was going to ask you, was it because she knew your name or the voice? So after all of these years, she still remembered your voice,
right. And then when because she had originally been in one of the other rooms, and she walked to the front toward the front door, and then when she saw me, she's like, "I recognize you immediately as well from your picture on the Facebook page." We have the picture of the three of us from one of the previous.
So they are still monitoring the show and the Facebook.
We
and
can
all
ask.
this.
It sounds like they've done their homework.
Okay.
Well, I think
Well,
we should, I think
You
we
said
should.
Robin
Our homework,
knew
too.
that I moved to
Yeah.
Colorado. I have kids. Like
She did.
So did my,
done their
and you said
homework.
my name came up?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We talked a lot about you.
Oh dear.
Talked a lot of smack about
Oh.
you. A lot of smack about Bruce Starr.
All
There
right.
you go.
It is Radio Racket 2016. 10 years of gradual improvement.
the moment you've all been
I
waiting for.
can't believe this is about to happen. This is so friggin' amazing.
Is there anyone listening right
Ladies
now
and gentlemen, boys and girls.
I know I've been waiting.
who has not been waiting and waiting and waiting? And speaking of waiting, so is our guest, so let's get to it. But I know that many of you, and this is something that we need to point out, many of you listening, in fact, most of you listening, were actually not with us when
This all originally.
when this all went down, right?
You got my board on, by the way?
Do I have your board? No. Oh,
Yeah, if you don't pay for that stream.
sorry, that was unintentional.
That was
Sorry
my
about
mistake,
that.
sorry.
Although maybe for the best.
Probably.
Perhaps for the best, right? Okay. Anyway, I would like to welcome our... hold on. Where's the phone? Which pot brings up the phone? I should have had that ready, too. Okay.
You would think.
You would think. No, you wouldn't, actually.
This is a low-rent operation.
Yeah. All right. Our first guest tonight started out as a child broadcaster on the old Horn and Hard Art Children's Hour on the old WCAU radio with the great Stanley Broza. Did you know that?
Quite the whippersnapper.
Yeah. But, that was certainly not the end, though, because Ron would go on to become one of the regulars on Bandstand. I know what you're thinking. You know the host, right? Dick Clark? No, this was back in the Bob Horn era of Bandstand at the old WFIL TV. And, of course, he would stay with the program as it went national as American Bandstand, and a new host, relatively unknown at the time, Dick Clark, but soon to become a superstar, coast to coast. After Bandstand, RJ went on to a WPCA TV, Channel 17, back when seemingly nobody had UHF television, so a pioneer there at Channel 17 when it was owned by the Percy Crawford Association, the Young People's Church of the Air. Late 60s through the 70s and 80s, RJ would be a fixture on UHF television in Philadelphia and a couple of dozen other markets with a whole bunch of TV disco shows, and locally here on Channel 29 and 17 and 65 and 61. Radio would come back. RJ would be on in Wildwood at WCMC and at Wheeze in Chester, WPWT in the city, and a whole bunch of call letters I'm probably forgetting. Early 90s, LPTV comes calling, and RJ would go into station ownership with a big chunk of the action at LPTV stations in Philly, South Jersey, and the Philadelphia suburbs. And then finally, 10 years ago, a new chapter, talk radio, would come calling for RJ in 2006 as he hosted Something to Say with RJ on the 50,000-watt multicultural voice of the Delaware Valley,
My personal favorite.
WNWR, inspired by the late Taylor Grant, as RJ would do Something to Say. And now, the moment...
I've been doing a show for 45 years.
I guess now 55, but not anymore, because Kyle tells us that RJ has retired after that illustrious career.
He hung it up.
Now come on, Jeff. Let's bring on our guest you've all been waiting for. And here he is. I'm speaking with him for the first time in more than 10 years. RJ Ron Joseph. RJ, it's George, it's Kyle, it's Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yeah, George, talk a little louder because I just about can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, RJ. I can hear you
All
just
right.
fine.
Well, listen, first of all, let's begin at the beginning. I want to congratulate you on all the children you had since I last talked to you, and the other guys had kids, so congratulations to your family.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to just make one disclaimer. We're all going to act mature tonight, and I hope you guys will act mature as much as I am.
Start being professional, and I'll treat you.
Jeff,
want to cover
no. I'm cutting off Jeff's
a
sound.
lot of
yes.
time, but there's no animosity. There's never been any animosity, and I am so happy for all the beautiful listeners that you even brought me over the years. People still call me that are friendly with your radio Racket. And, of course, I brought you a lot of listeners, too, because you guys played my little bit parts till they wore out. That's what I hear. So God bless you all.
Well,
okay?
RJ,
It's
thank
a show of love.
Thank you, and I think are you able to hear us better now, RJ? I made some adjustments. Can you hear
Now,
us?
you're really low. You're like a priest in a confessional. I
Oh,
just
no.
hear my big mouth, but I can't hear you.
Oh,
I
no.
hear you, but it's not muffled. It's low. Can't you put your volume up? How about looking at a pot?
Well,
Where your VU should be up over 50.
Yeah,
Sounds like
George.
that's 25.
No. The problem is Dino is not here, and there's
Why the hell you don't have Dino when you do a show like this?
He's
Dino's
busy
very
with his
essential.
Greek network.
no. We wanted Dino here. He had a last minute engagement. He wanted to be here very much. He's listening. He just couldn't be here right now. But we're using Jerry Lee's old board from Easy 101,
God bless you.
and there are all these settings.
You mentioned Jerry Lee. You once told me that he would never make an appearance on any radio show. Well, the only radio show he made an appearance on was Something to Say with RJ. If you remember,
He's
I
got
was
you there.
amazed, too, that he showed up.
I don't
And remember, we had a lot of nice personalities from the Philadelphia area.
I really don't remember
Homer,
that. Is that true?
Cal Rudman,
Yeah.
you name it, I had them on there. It was the most enjoyable Saturday afternoon show
We agree.
that I ever had with talk radio. And some of the big guys in Philadelphia I was fortunate to have. The Pat Delseys, the Joe Pellegrinos, and so on and so forth. But what I want to tell you,
Yes.
I was so happy. I lasted 54 years. I couldn't take it anymore. Radio is crap today. As you said, they're buying each other out. Beasley's buying everything. One owner's going to own everything. I can't put up with that. And, of course, I stayed 14 years at 92.1. 54 years on radio and TV. My television shows are running all over the country. They're rerunning. I'm sick and tired of watching them rerun. Plus, if you go on YouTube, I'm on about 75 YouTube. So, it's been a ball. 54 years, no regrets. And I wish you guys can come back next year and say that you're bigger and better than us.
Well, thank you. Yes, no, we do this once a year, and like Kyle said, that's pretty much enough for us. For one thing, Jeff lives in Colorado, so he has to fly.
Yeah.
He has to fly in, and
Yeah, but Jerry Del Caliano writes me from Scottsdale, Arizona. I think he said. I hear from Steve Ruby. I hear from everybody that watch my shows in different towns, and they're wonderful. The big deals, the big guys that were friendly with me in Philadelphia. I never thought they'd continue communication. I have communicated. Ron Diamond wrote me last week. Unbelievable.
Ron
Wonderful
Diamond,
people.
the stone
That
with the
were part
tone
of
from
Philadelphia,
Wi-Fi.
yeah.
Yes.
George, the only thing I say about you, you're too good. You have a great voice. That's all. And when you get into a station, be more humble, and you'll be a John Facenda.
Well, thank you, but I don't think there's room for another John Facenda
George Facenda.
anymore.
Well, I
No,
know that.
I
I'm
don't.
using that just as an exaggeration.
So
But
what-
you are good.
Well, thank you.
Do something with that voice. Don't waste your lifetime. And don't be bitter. There's
No.
too much bitterness in Philadelphia. This is why I wanted to leave 10 years ago and not come back. But what I did, I kept on going back and forth to my station in San Francisco. We had a house there, and my brother and his kids. We had another house on the water. We loved it. Back and forth. I was a gypsy, for years. Going to all the stations, and I did it for as many years. Drove and I flew 200,000 miles on 2 Cadillacs. And my Mustang has another 100,000 on that. So, I still have that running, and I have no regrets. I really don't. I am so happy that I was able to live Christmas Eve and retire. So the streaming kept me on because people were reaching me with the stream. And this is why I have stayed on longer. Otherwise, I would have left. You remember once I told you I did not believe in the network of Internet at all?
I remember very well.
That?
Yes, of course. I just made reference to it. You said the Internet was a fad.
I disbelieved all that. I never thought it would become big. But the stream was the best thing that ever happened to me because I went into cities where I was not on, and the stream was fabulous. Put my volume up, Robin. And the thing is, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Streaming is where it's at. And
Absolutely.
I got in a little city from my other stations, and they're wonderful.
Okay, now, RJ, are you able to hear me at all?
Are being brought up, either by politicians or religion. I mean, Jerry, what's his name, Robin? Who's buying all the stations, buying times? You know who it is. Who do you watch, Robin?
Jerry.
Jimmy Swaggart, 5 of the stations that I'm on, he's buying it 24 hours a day, time.
Is he still
just
around?
To ask for donations.
He's still around?
It's a disgrace.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize he was still around.
As I said once before, the owners of especially Philadelphia are a bunch of prostitutes. I repeat what I said. You can play that back too. They'll grab money from Jimmy Swaggart all day long asking for money.
I'll show you.
He took over, I don't know how many stations, but... And every time one of these jokers, by time, they hurt the independent programmers, like myself. I have foreign language taken over in some of my cities, religion in some cities. I've been on. Channel 25, a great channel in the Philadelphia area. Wonderful. Every Sunday afternoon. I'm tired of watching my reruns, but it's nice not to see religion after religion after religion and politics. I'm sick of the politics.
RJ, can you...
It's too much.
RJ, it's
I
Kyle.
met Donald Trump, and I could not stand him the day that Taj Mahal opened. I was interviewing, listen to this, Michael Jackson, and I took too long interviewing him. And he said to me, "Come on, RJ, get this interview done. I'm paying him big bucks." And I never liked Donald Trump. Now I like Donald Trump because he has something to say. He wants to kick butt. He may be wrong, but I like him now. And I did not like him the first day I met him with Michael Jackson down at his casino he was opening up. So things change from once to another. I'd love to do talk, but they want me to do it in New York. And I do not want to travel to New York. I hate New York. I'd rather fly to L.A. or San Francisco. And I was going to do it, a talk show on the Internet, which was really, serious. And I decided not to go back and forth to New York. I drive too much as it is.
Right. So, RJ, this is Kyle. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now, you're a little better than George. George, I just feel like a month.
All right,
Speak
good.
up.
So, ultimately, I know we talked a little bit about it when I was over at the house, but you deciding to retire, you decided not to have any goodbye tour or a goodbye show or really say goodbye at all. Why did you want to go out that way?
I went out because it was not necessary. I gave hints galore saying, RJ has put 54 years in. I've managed 3 acts in Hollywood. I did 3 motion pictures in Hollywood, Gemini the Twin Stars, Taps at Valley Forge, and so many other small shows. We made money with those shows. They were great, but I didn't want to go through managing any new young acts again. And I surely wasn't going to start disco in the cities that have been carrying me. So I said, just fade out as the year goes. I'll say goodbye to the audience. Check me out on YouTube. You always will see my old show. But the cities that are carrying me, check it out. Every Sunday afternoon I've been on. I have not been off the air yet. The only place I'm off the air is Disco USA in Philadelphia on
Right.
92. I voluntarily was glad to get away from the Philadelphia area with that station because one day they were streaming, one day they weren't streaming. It was a pain in the neck.
Now,
And all my listeners around the country got pissed off. So
Right.
I said, look, I'm not going to go through another year of this.
So
I'm retiring from radio.
what was
I just faded out.
what was the story with them turning off the stream? Do you know?
It was a music
To
license.
save money. What the hell? What are you, stupid? Of course.
Maybe.
It's all about money. All they want is money.
Yeah, it was an
They would
ASCAP.
lower the wattage if they could.
Yeah.
They would turn off the red lights if they could, if the planes wouldn't hit the tower. They don't want to spend money. God forbid. That's a mortal sin to spend money.
Now, we're talking about
you know.
WVLT in Vineland, for
Right.
anyone listening
Yeah,
who's
I
not
don't
sure.
care about saying what I say. It's true.
Yes.
They made money from Blavin and me for years. I was there 15 years back to back. And Jerry and me had been on other stations, on 29, Channel 17. Jerry needs it to promote his gigs. I'm not killing myself. You're not going to find me like Herb Homer dying on stage. I told that to Herb. I would not die on stage. I'll get out while the going's good. And thank God my health is wonderful. Thank God I bought a beautiful mausoleum. It's made like the Jefferson mausoleum. It's the Jefferson house.
Monticello.
Made just like Jefferson's home.
Like on the
A
nickel.
beautiful mausoleum. It's all paid for. I owe nobody any money. And my casket cost me a fortune. It's beautiful.
Mahogany?
Everything's done. So if I die in Philadelphia tomorrow, my wife just makes a phone call. They pick up my body. But my wife says, you'll never die. We all die. We all die. I heard you were sick for a while, George. That's what someone told me.
Yes, well, I am.
You had a heart attack or something?
No. I
He's coming close to one, though.
No. I suffered a stroke 3 years ago, almost to the day 3 years ago. And
God bless you.
I'm.
And what did it affect, your voice or your body?
Well, a little bit of everything, but I've largely recovered. I had a lot of therapy. My voice is obviously not exactly the same, but
I
I've been
couldn't hear what you said.
I've
What
been-
did it affect part of your body, I said?
just my right side. My right side.
All right. So you're doing good now, right?
Relatively speaking, I'm doing great. Now, RJ, just stand by because I'm going to try to mess with some of these dials on this board to see if you can hear me any better because you say you're having
Don't screw it up, but put your voice up louder. I just about hear you. But you can hear me clear?
Oh, you're crystal clear.
RJ
Oh, with my
sounds
big
clear.
mouth, sure.
Yes.
But I know you have a big mouth. I don't know why you're not coming in.
I don't know why. Dino might have some insight, but he's working right now. He can't.
All right, well, don't knock it off altogether.
Yeah.
Probably because George took a stroke.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So, well, anyway, RJ. Okay, so you've retired from broadcast, just radio, or all of broadcasting?
No, radio. The TV shows will run till they break.
Okay.
I have them on DVD. I have them on 2-inch. I have them on 3/4 inch. I have them on 1/2 inch. And most stations are running them on DVD. And they're really enhanced with the DVD in most cities.
Okay, RJ. Tell us about.
You remember I used to mail the big 2 inches out across the country.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
I schlepped them all over the country with me.
Well, you would bicycle the tapes, right? And you would move them back.
Yeah, I would
and forth.
bicycle to one station, then the other station would send it to another station,
Sure.
and so on and so forth, and then they'd bring them back to me. Yeah, we did that for years. That was the cheapest way to do a syndication.
Tell us about this
I was
Channel
not spending money for
25.
2-inch tape. You know what the 2-inch tape ran me in those days? Just an empty tape was $200.
Wow.
I kept all my shows. You were a marvel. You remember saying, boy, you have so much stuff here. If you look at my website, you'll see. I sent everything to Kyle. You can see all the shows on YouTube at any time you want.
And on the topic of
They
your
have stood the test of time.
and RJ, on the topic of your website, what's going on with RJ Forever and RJDiscoUSA.com?
That's right. They just that one day they were gone. Are they not coming back?
Yeah, they're off. I'm not going to spend any money to keep them on the air. If they want them, they write me. I send it to them from the archive. I send it to anybody that they want from the archive. I took them off. I downsized all my expenses because I wasn't going to run the same, website that I ran for years. Forever was on 10 years. Disco USA was on for 10 years. My YouTubes are all over. Everything's happy. I thank all the beautiful people that have worked with me over the years, all the wonderful stations, the people that believed in me, From the very beginning, when nobody would play disco, I continued to play it. I had the ball, I had the guts, and I didn't care about what anybody said. And there were stations that stuck with me. Some stations didn't want to play disco, I went to another station. At one time I had 3 stations in San Francisco carrying me at different times.
RJ, can you hear me now?
Pardon?
Can you hear me now? Is that any better?
That's a little better, yeah, a little better.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, Dino nailed it.
Dino just radioed into us to Kyle and gave us some tips on what buttons to push. So I am not a professional when it comes to these boards. I'm a talent. I'm
George,
not an
start being
engineer.
a professional.
Now I can hear you.
Okay, well that's much better. So now we can really get the show on the road. Now what I was saying earlier was, can you tell us about this Channel 25? Because I used to think I knew all of the TV stations, and I've got to be honest, I've never heard of it.
Well, sure. It was on for years.
Never heard of it.
10 or 15 years by the Zanoni family, and they sold out. It was all news all the time.
Oh, the Trenton
That was
station.
CBN.
That was Trenton.
Pardon?
You mean the Trenton station?
Channel 25.
The Trenton station is correct, but however, you don't know.
I don't know.
When I joined them 3 years ago, they started carrying me because they moved their transmitter to Chestnut Hill. My transmitter is in Fenton Avenue. That's where we are.
How about
Fenton
that?
Avenue.
So I can get
And
it.
that's where Channel 25's transmitter is. The studio remains in Trenton.
So can I get it in King of Prussia with the rabbit ears?
Well, I don't think with rabbit ears. You need an outdoor antenna. I use my outdoor antenna. You can't get anything. You're in a ditch there. Your old house was always hard to get to. You couldn't get VLT sometimes.
Oh no, well VLT is inaudible in King of Prussia, and now, and one of the things we're going to talk about later on in the show, VLT is inaudible almost everywhere because there are a whole bunch of other stations.
They don't want to crank the juice up. They don't want to
RJ, no, that's not what it is. They've got that thing juiced up as much as it can go to the 6,000 watts. There are other 92.1s, religion and translators that are popping up. Yes.
Then I heard somebody wants to use their frequency now. I don't think that'll get approved.
Well, there have been word. I mean, I'm hearing all kinds of word that the station's been sold or is about to be sold. Anyway,
I don't know nothing about it. Don't know nothing about the sale.
I don't know
All
how.
I know is other people want to use that frequency in Philadelphia, which I think it's a travesty. They should never use that signal for any religion or foreign language.
Well, now
It's a good station.
I want to get back now that you can hear. So you say this sounds a lot better. You can hear me now.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
all
hear
right.
you fine.
So I want to get back to you had mentioned Donald Trump earlier, and
Yeah,
I don't
met him
know
the first day they opened the Trump
the Taj.
Taj Mahal.
Do you remember when we, as in you and me and Joe and a bunch of other folks, I think Robin was there with us, when we went down and Mr. Trump was buying us lunch at the old Trump Castle? Do you remember that day?
No, I don't remember that. I remember him telling me to hurry my interview up with Michael Jackson.
Well, Michael Jackson was not with us that day.
Paying him the big bucks, and I was wasting time. They had to cut the ribbon, so I had to hurry. But I don't remember that. No.
So you don't remember when it was you and me and
from the first. Now I like the guy.
Joe
Vitale
Vitale and Robin.
Sure, he lies a lot, but if he delivers half of what he promised, it's better than Hillary rerun.
I am really surprised he doesn't remember. I'm surprised that you don't remember that. We went down, we did video.
So many times I've met Ben Donald after that, and I started to like him. My brother got friendly with him. My brother loved him. But, matter of fact, he autographed his book, The Art of the Deal. I have never read it. My brother sent it to me. All right. My brother's a big fan of his in California. But, Donald's all right. He's just a businessman that lies a little bit. But he's a performer. And, Hillary's a performer, too. She lies a lot. She left the White House. She told Diane Sawyer penniless. What a lie that was. When her husband forgave people, what was it called? When he was, what was it, Robin? He pardoned people. The last month he was in $1 million a pardon. They left. They had the nerve to say they left the White House penniless. She's a damn liar. Even Diane Sawyer asked her, what are you, crazy? She was never penniless. And Benghazi, all they had to do was send a plane from Italy to help Benghazi. Those poor guys got burned to death, dragged out through the streets.
This is the political portion of the show.
At our embassy. It was a disgrace. She did not help. She didn't hear the phone ring at 4 o'clock in the morning. The man was asking for help all day. because the natives there in Libya were getting restless. He knew his life was on the line.
Now,
It's a disgrace what
Kyle.
he did, and they covered over it.
Yes.
you hear,
It
this,
wasn't no accident.
this is
Hillary
why.
is not qualified to save Benghazi. How the hell is she going to run the country? That's what I ask you.
You see, that RJ, and this is what I was just about to say to Kyle, what we're hearing right now, and I think, Kyle, you would certainly agree, now I don't know about Roscoe, but Kyle, you would agree,
Yeah.
that this is why I think it's such a shame that during this most exciting election cycle, the most exciting one I know I've ever had in my lifetime,
Yeah.
that RJ is not doing a Something to Say talk show.
That is the, I guess, it's the disappointment of my life that I quit everything and I didn't stay on with the talk show. I could have done it if I wanted to go to New York on the satellite, and I didn't want to take the Metro liner, and I wasn't going to drive to New York. Last time I drove to New York was on my appointment at the Carnegie Hall.
So you were
Last time I drove, I hated driving around Rome.
Right.
On a circle, you know, please.
So you were
I don't like to drive. I hate driving. I drove this country. Visited 40 cities.
drives and then he flies.
And I
So,
stopped.
visits only
President,
affiliates?
I was younger.
So
I'm
you
75 years old. I don't need it anymore. Thank God I sold my little low powers. It's on a great YouTube. It's Pat Delsey. Get feeds.
so you were offered.
He wasn't working for the seller station. He sold CAM. I sold 3 television stations, low powers, that we put on cheap, and we sold them for a profit. Paid my taxes to the government. I had no regrets. I'm so glad I had low power TV. And you let me through my low power TV when the Inquirer gave me a full page. You came down. You remember the Inquirer article?
Now, RJ, I just wanted to make sure I understood correctly here because I know we're having some trouble going back and forth with the audio. You're saying that you were offered a position to do talk radio at XM or Sirius Satellite?
Yeah, but I don't want to. I had to do it live. I couldn't do it from a location.
And you couldn't do it over a line? You couldn't do it from Philadelphia?
No, they don't want me. They want me to come in there, answer the phone, take dedications. I was going to be like the Mirrorball or whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, the disco channel.
Yeah, disco, but it was
the Chrome channel.
They have, what's his name up there? The one that did the show next to me. What's his name? The one that had a fight with Merv Griffin. He has a disco show there too. I can't think of his name. Danny Terrio. Well, why do you need me? I said, you have Danny Terrio. Let Danny Terrio got fired. I don't know. Yeah. But then Danny had a dance show next to my show on Saturday. You remember Dan Seaver or something it's called, right?
Well,
Are you there?
RJ, I want to go back to about 10 years ago when you were starting the Something to Say show, and because so much went down during that month or so when because we had just started this show and you had just started your show on 1540. It was around the same time, and because as you are well aware. We got, as you mentioned, we've gotten a lot of mileage out of those sound bites of you, and it's been a lot of fun. And
I'm right, you did. Yeah.
you know,
but I had planned to do that talk show way before you started first.
I understand that. I understand that. I'm not suggesting that we were the inspiration.
You thought I started my talk show because you were doing it.
Well,
I could never do it more than once a week. I thought you were going to be on every night. I could never do that.
Well, I've done
but
that
I didn't
before,
do it
but
because you did.
okay, but
That's where I think you got pissed off at me because you thought I went against you. But I was Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock.
no, there was nothing. There was nothing like that at all. I just wanted to go back to what I had remembered was you were our very first caller.
Absolutely.
On the very first
and you guys
night.
were fucking around with me.
No.
Language.
I said, you know who's calling. And I got pissed that you guys didn't recognize my big voice.
You know who it is.
No. Roscoe, see, there are 3 of us here, and Jeff Roscoe, Jeff was on WXTU at the time, so he had to use a different name with us because he was worried about getting trouble at Beasley.
Sure, the station he was working at. Right, all right.
Right, because that's
what... you guys didn't recognize me. I thought that was so silly. I was going to wish you guys all the luck in the world.
And
I
once,
really did.
and RJ,
and
once...
then you guys start calling me on my Saturday night trying to get your website.
Now,
that was later.
No, that was okay. Let me ask. I have a few questions. Now, first of all, you and Robin and you know, I always adored Robin, and I still to this day think the world of Robin.
She's a dear woman.
I hope she's doing well.
Well, you're just like Donald Trump and Hillary. You were at our wedding.
Absolutely. I remember it very well. It was Judge Lisa
You
Rochette.
ran video for me.
I was there. I remember it very well. And then the reception, and I think it was in Cherry Hill or
You
Voorhees.
came to the mansion in Cherry Hill where we had the reception, and we were married at Rittenhouse Square. You were there.
I was there, absolutely. And this is what I think a lot of the listeners who remember, you know, they only know from after what we affectionately refer to as the RJ tirade, you know, that final
you read
night.
that to death.
Of course we did.
How couldn't we?
You have other talent. You didn't have to run it to
Of
death.
course
But
we
I
did.
didn't care. I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
RJ, I hope you at least recognized that it was great radio, and it was exciting radio. And that's why we got so much mileage out of it that even now, 10 years later, people still ask me and Kyle and Jeff about
I'm glad they remember.
They said, was it real? That had to have been fake. That had to have been staged.
I was pissed off you guys didn't recognize my voice. I mean, I can't even disguise my voice. I call somebody, they know who it is. I never identify myself. I just start talking. They go, oh, it's RJ.
Okay, but
Dick Clark used to know my voice without even getting announced by his voice.
But
please,
he doesn't introduce himself.
But the thing is,
now,
that
it's
first
right
night.
to the point. As Dick Clark said, you're too honest to a call. And God bless Dick. Look, I did the high road with Dick too. We had our differences, but he was wonderful to me. And if you go to the YouTube, you see the salute I gave him was beautiful. Dick Clark deserved it. He looked the part for a national show like that. Other disc jockeys resented him in Philly. I would never, ever resent him. He taught me a lot about the business.
Yes, but RJ, and I understand that. I understand that, but I also remember, though, because, and what I was saying was a lot of the people listening don't realize that you and I went way back long before Radio Racket. When I was involved with your low-power television stations, we traveled.
When I left, you were named by my partner that I threw out, that you were the general manager when I came back from Hollywood.
Well, yes, but
pulled the power. Remember? You remember? I remember everything.
Yes, but what I think you forget, though, is that we were still friendly at the time. It was not as though there was a clue.
Absolutely.
And
There's never been animosity.
Never, and that was.
I loved your mother and father. I adored your mother. She's a sweetheart. I thought your father was a genius. You know, I liked everybody.
Well, at the time, in fact, it was the Moxley. It's my understanding that all the other partners are actually gone now. But
thank God, the Lord does work in strange ways.
And yet, after all of that, you are still here. You are still a survivor. You are still here.
I was the founder of it. I was the one that got the license.
But at the time,
I was the one that struggled to keep it on the air.
Ron, at the
so
time,
I deserved it, and the Lord paid me back. I got rid of all the crazy businessmen that thought they knew how to run a television station. I never forget the judge said to me, RJ, what does Walter know about television when you joined him? What does he know about television? I said, the on and off switch. I never forget that. The whole courtroom
RJ's talking to one of the
screaming and
partners
laughing.
in the station.
Nothing about radio.
In the station. And I don't know if RJ knows this, because I don't know if I ever told RJ at the time. So this may be the first time you're hearing it. But back then, when they had named me as, whatever it was, program director, general manager,
manager when I came back from Hollywood. Yeah.
Well, they had, and this is why
program director, whatever it says on Wikipedia.
Okay, the reason I left was because they confronted me when they found out that I was.
I didn't hear you dropped out. He left. The reason I left.
The reason I left was because they had confronted me one night. It was a Friday night. They had confronted me about the fact they said that they had photographs of me hanging out with you and your family and your friends. And they said, we don't want you...
They were handing out pictures of my family.
No. They said that they had photographic evidence, which I never quite understood. They said that they heard that I was still friendly with you and your family and your friends, and
so they were pissed off at you, that's why.
That was what it was. They didn't want me to... I had to agree to have no contact with you whatsoever, and I said, no, you will not tell me who I will and will not associate with. And
I admire you for sticking up for yourself,
Yes, but
Screw him. He was never in television. He never should have been in television.
well, no, but I got the feeling though at the time, going back 10 years when the tirade and all that happened, was that the feeling that I got was that you were under the impression that there was some kind of a backstabbing or double crossing of you, and it was nothing like that of the sort. There was none of
Now,
that.
I'll tell you why nobody could backstab me on Channel 7. I was the signature on the FCC document. They couldn't make a move with that station. There were 3 partners. They couldn't do anything without me signing. I was the one that signed for the FCC document. I applied for it, and I got it. But I bought an existing license from a very rich man up in Boston, Massachusetts, and put it on the air. I struggled with Joe Vitale. Rick, if you remember my engineer Rick, we went around checking all the different buildings to get the best signal. In those days, it was hard to get low power all over. You remember?
Well, that was a hell of a signal, though, for a low power, though. At one point, we were getting
Well, you know why? Because I paid top dollar to go to the Mellon.
To the Mellon Bank.
But when I was on the lower buildings, I wasn't getting out. I was on 1818 Market Street, only 37 floors. When I bought more more rental,
right.
I rented the triangular building. First, we went to Liberty. That was bad because it had windows.
It was blocked.
The reflection was bad.
Yeah, it was blocked.
But I had to pay top dollar for that. And thanks to, a wonderful man, Dolly Banks' nephew, who owned WHAT, and he owns the tower.
Yeah, Mr. Stevens.
The Banks Tower, he got me on this. He made the deal with the owners of the Triangle Building, which is called the Mellon. Then I put a hell of a signal out. You were able to get me in King of Prussia and all.
That is
correct.
correct.
At one time, my signal wasn't traveling far at all.
Well, the later signal under the newer ownership was awful, but at one point we were getting out to Limerick, Pennsylvania from that site.
I know. I used to get calls from Limerick. You're absolutely right.
No,
absolutely right by the diner there.
I still have.
I was amazed we were reaching that far.
I still have VHS tapes off the air.
And I don't regret it. I did every facet of show business.
Okay.
I managed groups. I did the Charlie Gracie story. I did the Dick Clark Wages of Spin. I had a wonderful time.
Now,
I did movies, Hollywood. Jeez, I'd retire tomorrow there. But I have everything here right now. As I said, I have a paid-off, beautiful mausoleum. I'll take you out and let you see the building. It's beautiful.
Maybe we should sometime.
The Jefferson Mansion.
We have a picnic
in Virginia.
You mean at the mausoleum?
Picnic
at the mausoleum.
Beautiful.
That would be fun.
And I got a beautiful casket. I got everything ready. I'm prepared to die if I die tonight. But no one's going to shut my voice. I'll always tell the truth. And if it hurts some people, I can't help it. I can't help it.
Well, then why
the truth
don't
will
you
always set you free?
Why don't you want to do a talk show now, with all of the news going on?
I would have to do a talk show now, but I don't have a choice of great stations. 860, heck.
Yeah, but nobody's listening to that. Nobody's listening to that.
Right.
Listen,
Who wants to do that? I'd have to do advertising pages and pages.
but you said it yourself.
1540 is all.
No, nobody's listening.
What is
no,
it?
it's Chinese programming.
Chinese.
No.
My old station's all Chinese.
No.
Not Talk 500, George.
Well, and that's what I was saying. RJ said it. You said it yourself. That the internet and streaming is the place to be, coast to coast at minimal cost. Why don't you set up your own stream or even do something, say here or
I thought of that. You're young. God bless you. You could do it. You have 3 kids. You have a lot of time on your hands.
I have no time on my hands.
You have no time on your hands.
I have no time at all.
Well, listen, I'm 75. I have no time on my hands because my wife and myself are out every day. Our big trip is to New Hope, Pennsylvania. We love it. We go to Doylestown. We stay away from the shore as much as possible. We only go to Ocean City, but it's nice. Cape May. But we don't go far much these days. You know I used to go across the country.
We used to go
right
everywhere,
yes.
Well,
I went to every city that carried my crazy disco show. And you want to know something? Those people are so loyal, they're still carrying it in those towns. Some send me a residual check that says sell advertising on it. You go percentage-wise. Some don't send me a check. I don't pull it away from them. I say, keep running it. You'll pick up another sponsor. Some people like disco. Some people hate disco. It didn't matter to me. I was happy what I was doing. And to do what you like.
That's what it's all about.
You should be on a KYW. You should be on a WILM. You should be on a radio station with news because that's what
KYW News Time.
News. Well, but it's a bitch because there's a lot of competition. You know damn well. I don't have to tell you that.
Well, that's where Kyle and I met, of course, was at WILM.
Yeah, you told me that a month ago when he was at
Now,
you told me that.
The night of the Get back to the thing 10 years ago, though, because I never understood exactly why you were so angry with us that night, and
Because I flipped out, you guys would recognize my big mouth.
But no, but that was a month.
No. You better get your ears fixed.
But that was a month later. It was a month later, and I remember.
I tried calling again, and you start playing the bits and pieces, you know.
No, we never did that until Kyle. Refresh my memory. But we never did.
No, the tirades are what created the
the tirade was the bit.
The tirade was all right, but then you can't take those bits and pieces. I got tired of hearing them.
But that was
the same thing.
But that was all
in between records.
But that was all after the tirade, though. Like,
That was right.
What our question is you called us on the first night of the show.
Right, I wish you good luck. You didn't know who I was.
We did once we figured out.
I was pissed, that's all.
No. Once we figured out who you were, because remember, at the time we were using a VoIP, a cheap
Vonage.
Right, so it was hard to
Right,
tell.
I'll give you the credit. You had a cheap setup. All right.
So thank you. But what?
Your setup right now is not the greatest either, but at least I'm listening to you guys.
Full of compliments, George.
It's just
I
one
wish we
after
had
another.
Sounds like we should have gone to tirade.
Dino, I love Dino. He knows what the hell he's
Well,
doing.
you just insulted his studio here. He put all of this. He put this whole thing together.
Did he? Well, sure he did. But he should be there to man sometimes the problems when it goes down.
So
when Dino's there, he can correct it right away. I'm not putting anybody down.
So let's
I'm just saying Dino is the most gifted engineer that I know that you guys hang with.
Right. So let's go back.
If it's wrong, you disagree with me. You're entitled to disagree with me.
RJ.
But I think Dino's great.
Hey, RJ.
Yes.
Let's go back to the night of the tirade, okay?
Oh, please. How many times are you going to read
No. But this is what our listeners have been waiting 10 years, though, to find out about.
Right.
We want a new tirade.
They know.
No,
but they wrote me emails. I wrote them back.
But
Even simple.
And then they start playing these little bitty that were a little overdone. You'd be a dead horse. Let's face it.
No. It's
you guys
gold.
have talent.
It's gold.
Why do you beat a dead horse and keep playing?
Because as a programmer, I know good quality radio. I know what people want to hear.
That's not quality radio.
Oh, it was quality. RJ, there's still people talking about it to this day.
They like those bits.
They love it.
If you pop me up, I could play some.
Oh, I'm sorry. I took
No. Don't bother. Don't sue me up.
But in all seriousness, though, Kyle did have a question, and it may seem trivial.
Go ahead,
Kyle. Go ahead.
So I know what
question you're going.
I know what we want to know, and what I know we've spoken.
Am I really 75? Yes, I am.
No, that's not the question.
Well, we know that because he said he was 65 10 years ago, so that makes sense.
I was retired in 65 years. It took me finally to do it.
But
go ahead.
What we want to know is, and now that I've been to your house, the burning question to me is, where were you in the house when the tirade happened? Were you in the kitchen? Were you in the dining room? Were you in the front room?
Set the stage.
The tirade happened. I think I was drinking a scotch and soda in my kitchen. Yeah.
So see, scotch and soda.
I don't even drink. You know what I drink?
Coca-Cola.
I drink Coca-Cola. I don't drink at all. But I think I was having a scotch.
So you're having a scotch and
I
soda.
was celebrating my birthday. It was 11:59.
RJ doesn't drink, see?
Nice. All right, I was
I just
celebrating my
drink
birthday.
Coca-Cola.
Whatever the case may be, I am over 21. I could be drinking.
That is
But
true.
I do drink Coca-Cola.
Yes, you do.
Matter of fact, the doctor says I should drink less Coca-Cola and more hard stuff.
Well,
because I'm in good shape.
But I can attest to the fact, though, that in all the times that in the years that we were hung around, you were never a really big drinker. I don't remember you being a big drinker ever.
When you ordered all the beers down at Kelly's, I bought them for you. We were eating.
See, now he remembers that.
You drank the beer. I drank Coca-Cola.
Yeah, you remember that, but you don't remember when we had the lunch at the top of the Trump Castle with. No,
I don't remember.
Okay,
that.
it was you and it was me.
Trump, I don't even
and Robin.
I never thought much of him.
And Mr. Wagner, Mary Elizabeth DiPiano was with us.
Yeah, Mary, sure, they've been all on my show.
No, but you don't remember when we had the $48 soup? You don't remember this? You know, and then Mr. Trump couldn't be with us, so they put him on the speakerphone, and they put the phone on the table, and we talked to Don. You don't remember any of this?
I remember Kokomo Bay when I did the live show.
No, not with the Kokomo Bay. But
I had what was the reporter's name? Joe Frazier was with me. Everybody was with me. The judge that married us.
Don Battles was with us. Don Battles was with us. Remember?
Don Battles, yeah, good. That was Mary Elizabeth's husband. Wonderful man. God bless.
I was with you. I can't believe he doesn't remember this. This is.
But getting back to Kyle's question, why were you so upset that night?
How many times I've seen Donald Trump now, I've changed
Not
my
gonna answer the
attitude with him. So I don't even remember that incident.
Okay, well,
the one I didn't like was the way he rushed me with Michael Jackson.
I wasn't there for that.
I have interviewed stars that told me stories that you wouldn't believe. I mean, Ricky Nelson hated his father because he wouldn't let him grow hair, and I was at the Continental Safari with him. It was snowing out of 202 on Route 1. Nobody showed up. He blamed his father. I said, you can't blame your father, Ricky. It's a snowy night. It's a blizzard out there. I went with my microphone from WEC, 1970. I want to play that on YouTube. Another wonderful two kids. Bob Conrad's kids wanted to be on my show in Hollywood. Bob Conrad would not let his kids come on any show unless they were on his show. Bob Conrad's kids hated him too. I mean, I know a lot. I mean, about a lot of the stars. And I got to meet some of the best stars in Hollywood because of John Rittenhouse. Connie Stevens' daughter was in love with him. So I got to meet Connie Stevens accidentally. Who played Policewoman? What's her name?
Give me a rim job.
Angie Dickinson's daughter loved him. So I got to meet them. I met a lot of people in Hollywood. I owe my whole life in Hollywood, not to Dick Clark. Everybody thinks so.
Well,
Alan Carr.
But I also remember. I also remember that.
Saturday Night Fever together. You know, with Stigwood. I would never have met these guys if it wasn't for Alan Carr. Alan Carr was wonderful, but Dick Clark was good. He taught me the business. Came to my high school free of charge.
It's the RJ Show, everybody.
Well, no. I remember, though, in the earlier days, when you used to say, though, that you know, you would tell the Bob Horn story, and you would say that Dick Clark was at the right place at the right time, and that Bob Horn got the shaft.
All-American Youth Preserve the show.
But I never hear you talk about that anymore. All I hear you talk about is Dick Clark. But I remember there was a time you were even working on that. Remember the movie that we were talking about?
Well, if you want to hear the whole story.
Not the Wages of Spin. I'm talking about the Bob Horn movie.
I mean, Molly James never wanted me to say anything good about Dick Clark because she hates him. But I took the high road. I told about the good things he did. Came to my birthday party, treated me like wonders. He gave me my first commercial with Black and Green, Made for a Teen, the Beach Nut Peppermint show in New York City at the Little Pier, 44th and Broadway. He did a lot for me. The first 5 years, he kept me there until I was 18, then the union wanted us to leave. So I had to leave, and I went out on my own. He thought I'd never get a radio show.
Now, Kyle, I know.
I have a TV show, too, and you're going to be on it.
Kyle is on the, Kyle's on the, you're on the Facebook, right?
The Crawfords. Young People's Church of the Year. They gave me my first break.
Right. Kyle's on the Facebook, and he has people who are asking. They want to ask some questions, right? And he doesn't hear me.
It's unbelievable. Everything I say has validity because it's all true. I can prove it with video.
Kyle has some of our listeners who want to ask you some questions, and tell me what they're saying out there about.
Remember Cozy?
Cozy Morley, yes. Kyle, go ahead.
RJ, man in Wildwood, right?
Everyone's loving the interview.
Are they? They're enjoying it.
They are somehow.
Well, there's audio problems, and this is why originally I had said that it would be ideally we would get RJ out here, but I know he doesn't want to come out at night.
Yeah, you wanted me to come out to King of Prussia. I know. I said,
well, because there's a lot of audio problems.
I hate the new edition they're making there. I was there a few weeks ago. I cursed Mall Boulevard.
You're not missing anything. It's awful. I know it's terrible, but it's.
I hate it.
I hate it too. But
you know how I come in there when I do Chris?
I wouldn't.
I come in through Ruby's entrance. That's where I park, by Ruby's, and then I walk through the mall to what's it called? Abercrombie and Fitch.
Okay, well, RJ, I need you to
gourmet clothing for young people.
If you
I come through Ruby's.
Take a breath for a second, because Kyle wants to. Our listeners have questions for you, and go ahead, Kyle.
All right, so RJ, do you remember I guess it was after the first show where you called, and of course, yes, we didn't know you. But
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm following you.
And you came out to Steffi's, where George was doing his
how
show.
about that? I came out to your beer place, and I was nice all the time.
Right. So you
Rocking Rob was there.
Yeah, you bought us a beer.
Rocking Rob was there.
Yes, he was. He sat with Robin and I.
Right. And then, so I guess,
He remembers.
what was it, a week or two after that, George, was the tirade?
Oh, no, I thought it was 2 days.
Was it 2 days?
It was 2 days.
It was that same week.
It was that week.
So, I mean, what?
I don't know what precipitated, just the way you guys didn't recognize my voice and I was pissed off. Maybe I was drinking too much scotch. Who knows? I don't
You just said
remember
you
that.
drink Coca-Cola.
That's 10 years ago. The point is, I had my say. Anything I said, I stand behind it, and that's it.
So you don't remember
guys
why you
call
got
me
angry?
names, I'll put your names back. You guys are not under 21. You can call me names, I can't call you names. Come on, I sound like Donald Trump now, you know?
No, but people want
Names,
to
they go back and
know.
forth.
It was such a
Donald
famous
Trump, I
tirade.
would
Everyone
love
wanted to know.
to be on radio now and take Donald Trump's part, because I think he would and could win.
Are they enjoying
There's so
it?
much bullshit with Hillary that they're trying to make him look like a villain, which he's not a pearly white altar boy, but I'm for Donald Trump. I really am.
So-
and I bet you aren't you for him?
Jeff, can I tell them where you were yesterday?
Go ahead.
Jeff was at the Trump rally yesterday in Colorado Springs.
God bless him. God bless you. And if I had the energy, I'd go on and visit with him and talk. He can't forget me.
Kyle-
He actually got me off the floor.
A lot of people have a hard time forgetting
wasting
RJ.
time with Michael Jackson. He'll never forget me.
If
You
it came
remember
down,
me, Michael Jackson? And I never forget who was there with me.
I wonder if Michael Jackson could verify this story.
Did the night show. We stayed at the pizza on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Where was it, honey?
Robin, come on. Oh,
So
who
RJ,
took over the show on NBC? They threw him the hell off. My good friend, I can't remember. See, I'm getting old.
Conan O'Brien. Okay.
No, he has the auto show now. He has 97 beautiful cars.
oh, Jay Leno.
Jay Leno, God. Jay used to eat with me Hard Times Pizza on Santa Monica Boulevard. And he was there. He said, man, I can't believe you have the
So, RJ,
Yeah.
What-
What with him? I said, look, Donald, I'm in the middle of the interview. I'm done with you.
It's like this guy's never been off the air.
This was my big thrill, talking to Michael Jackson.
Got to get him back on the air.
let him go.
The RJ doll.
Okay.
So,
Kyle,
what?
go ahead.
I
You
have.
gotta go?
No. We've waited
No,
10 years
I
for
thought
this.
maybe you want me to fuck you.
No, never.
Well, no, but there is a
I've
gating
been
problem.
told I talk too much. Too honest,
more than a gating problem.
Mad and impetuous fool, shut up! Dick hollered at me many times. We were going out to station break, and I was still talking.
So
I had
what?
a lot of fun.
So what are your thoughts?
What an education! What an education!
What are your thoughts on the one and only Mike Phillips?
Oh, I had nothing against Mike. Mike sold advertising, came on,
Well,
and I
he
threw him off. I
bought
think
time.
you hired him when I was in Hollywood back.
Well, yes, we saw the value in Mike. We thought Mike brought a comedic style to the station.
Yeah, he's a comedy. He was a young kid trying to make it.
Yes.
I have no animosity against anyone. Channel 7 was a proving ground for everybody.
Channel 7 was a
fun.
wonderful little station. I'm sorry you guys weren't around to see it. It was a
I have no regrets. I made money out of it. I had to pay income tax on it. A lot. And then I sold my other stations. You remember my other one in Cape May?
Well, yeah,
and my other one up in
RJ is asking
Mermaid
if
Lane. You remember my Mermaid Lane?
RJ is
On the
asking
tower,
if
the
I
Boron Tower.
remember. He's asking if I remember the station. I stood on top of the Marquis de Lafayette to put up the antenna. Yes, of course I
you
remember
helped
the
us that
station.
day. Yes, I'm not lying. Yeah,
I
you did.
found video
And
of us
thank
doing
you for
that.
carrying up that big television set up my 18 steps.
Well, I can't do that anymore. I can't carry anything
I
anymore
can't
after the
do it
stroke.
either.
Yeah.
I have two kids moving. We threw it down the steps. That was the heaviest television I ever had.
That giant
It wasn't
screen.
like the thin ones. Now I have thin ones, all real big screens, but they're thin to move. That was a disgrace. How did you move that set?
I had muscles back then. I don't have the ability to do that anymore now.
I thought you were going to have a hernia that day.
Yes. Well, maybe that's what triggered the stroke all those years later. Maybe I should.
Oh, that was years before.
Maybe I should slap a suit on you or something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, yes.
1993 it was.
Yes,
92.
yes.
Oh, 7 years. Statutes of limitation.
Now, do you miss the radio broadcasting at all? At all?
No, I don't miss radio because radio is a piece of junk.
No.
It doesn't sound like you've lost a beat, though.
No, but I don't mean today's corporate radio. I mean the act of doing radio.
Yeah, the ability to go into a studio and
just
speak
do
your
your
mind.
thing. Do you miss that? Taylor Grant inspired you said.
I think the thrill is gone after 54 years. I enjoyed it when I did. I did what I could play my own records. Today, it's all bullshit. No, I used to have 100 kids call me a year. Now nobody wants to get in the radio.
Well, no,
they think
there's
they
nothing
can
there.
do what they want to do. Can they play their own records? Nah. It's too formatted. It's all bullshit.
Are you still in touch with John Zito?
John, I hear from everybody on an email. I don't go socialize with anybody. Only through emails. I get 100 emails a week. And I answer as many as I can, and my wife does. I'm pretty good. I have an iPad. I know how to do that.
Who's currently number one on your email?
What was that?
Who's currently number one on your email?
Who's number one? I don't know.
What the hell does that even mean?
Right here, I write down.
Oh, because of the soundbite. There was a soundbite that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Norma Jean was number one on the email.
23.
Well, okay, Kyle.
There's so many nice people that like me. I have a girl that's so sweet. We were trying to get a kidney for Bobby Rydell. She writes me from Columbia, South Carolina or someplace, wherever it was, Columbus, Ohio. And she said, we got to get this. Bobby had 2 transplants. He saved his life.
Wow.
We did things for people that nobody knows. Bob drank a lot, and he had cirrhosis of the liver. He almost died, Bobby Rydell. And you guys may not even remember who Bobby Rydell is.
Of course we know who Bobby Rydell is.
Did he take a stroke?
You remember? Yeah.
Wildwood Days, yes.
Wildwood Days.
Yeah, and he has a great book. It's selling now. He wanted me out there for the signing at the Borders bookstores, which is the one up in the Barnes and Noble. I didn't go. I told him I couldn't.
So is John?
I had nothing but no regrets. That's all I could say.
Is John
managing the acts, owning the TV station?
Doesn't shut up, does he?
Having wonderful times with everything and everybody. Meeting my lovely wife over a talk show, Channel 7. Otherwise, I would never maybe got married. I met her, and she put up with me for 21 years.
God bless her.
So, you know, Robin is a doll.
It has been that long. I can't believe it. And a lot of people.
21 years you were there.
I was there, and a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know this, but RJ met Robin through the magic of television, Channel 7.
That's correct. She used to be the last caller. I said, "Why do you wait to call the last time?" "No, I want to just talk to you. I don't want to be on the air." I said, "Get in here. I'll take you to Andy Williams, who was appearing at the Roundhouse there. What was the name of the round place? Valley Forge Music Fair. I took her there. That was that first year. And she loved it. Stories ever since. Yeah, Robin was wonderful. If it wasn't with Channel 7, I wouldn't have known you.
Well, I read about you in the Philadelphia Inquirer.
You guys came out of the Channel 7 hatching the 8.
That was the Evening Bulletin.
No, it was the Philadelphia Inquirer. I read about him in the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Yeah, I had a nice page in Forbes. No, I think it was Daily News gave me the Yo page. It was great, a whole page there in the Inquirer. They played me up. You didn't even know I existed. You were in King of Prussia. You couldn't get it.
Yeah, we couldn't. Well, although once I'd put up the antenna, I could.
Sure.
I could eventually.
You were in an area that was a little low there. Were you?
Now, looking back though, after all these years, and knowing that there are all of these low power TV stations and even now low power FM stations, and none of them are really doing anything like
no, they're going to sell. They're going to go up for sale. They're going to auction them. The FCC starts next week
for the Spectrum, just for the Spectrum. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So nobody is really doing anything like we did with the open mic and
nobody
live
did live
broadcasts
shows
and
in
everything.
Philadelphia. No low power. The only thing they run are infomercials, religion, foreign language. That's all they run. I ran real live programs 24 hours a day
Bunch of
with
jerks.
a crew of what would we have? 3 or 4 people. That's it.
Now, one of our listeners is asking, he wants to know, do you, after all this time, see the comedic value in the sound bites from the tirade? Yes or no? He wants to know.
I see it, yeah. But how many times can you laugh at the same joke?
We're 10 years and counting.
It's still comes on, Robin, and cuts up everybody.
Okay.
Don Rickles. It was like the Don Rickles show of radio.
Well, he's very popular. He's almost 90
yeah,
years
he's
old.
very popular, but his jokes, take my wife and all that shit. He tells the same jokes, and that's what it became. It became a repetitious thing.
We have another.
Why would I bother myself to be mad about it? You thought it was funny? God bless you.
Okay, we
I have nothing, no animosity against any of the guys that work with you. You're lucky to have those two guys.
Should we?
3 guys.
Yes, I am very lucky to have Jeff and Kyle.
3 guys. They stuck with you through thick and thin.
Yes. Now, Mike Phillips, you remember Mike Phillips? He actually is listening right now. Now,
God bless you, Mike, wherever you are.
Now he has a question, though. Mike Phillips, Kyle, can you?
Yeah. And RJ, we talked about this a little bit when I was at your house last month. As we let off early in the show here, one of our best listeners, Joe Benson, passed away earlier this year.
Yeah, I remember.
And you and Joe worked together at Weeze in Chester, right?
That is correct.
So what? Tell us a little bit about that time that you spent with Joe and what Joe was doing, what you were doing. Yeah,
well, he was doing news. He loved news. News was his forte. And I wanted to do away with news. I was the general manager. He went to Ernie Cannon, said, we have to play news during RJ's show. I said, you're not going to play it. The kids will tune out. I was on from 7 to midnight, and I wasn't going to allow it. He didn't like it, so I told him to leave if you don't like it. And he went to WILM. I think that's where he went. I think that's where he went. No, WJBR. WJBR. That's where he went. He had a great voice. He was really dedicated to the business. He had a bad deal with a partner, I heard, out on the West Coast. That's all I heard.
Yeah.
But, and on top of it, somebody emailed me a week or two ago. He worked at a disco. He never told me that he loved disco. I thought he hated disco. He worked at a disco in Paso Robles.
He was holding out on you.
I never knew that about Joe. Joe did disco?
He's playing disco, and he never told me about it. I thought he hated disco. He called me at WVLP many times.
Maybe he just hated RJ.
Listen, let me tell you something. I put on a television station, Channel 17, and nobody had UHF in those days. So I got people to listen to The Voice. I used to play the voice of my Spotlight on America on WEEZ Radio, 1,000 water in Chester. And everybody would listen to my show who could not watch me if they didn't have the adapter. The adapter for those kids that are listening tonight were just like the digital box. You would put on top of your television, and it would tune you in a couple extra UHF channels. Channel 35, Channel 17, 29.
48.
They all came, 48. And it was a little box. 1995, I sold them too.
Door to door.
To make a buck and to get viewers.
Now I'm looking at
people that didn't want to buy it, I put the voice of my show on a and all innovative things. It's crazy. People thought I was nuts, but I did it, and I got listeners that way.
We have one. We have one more. We have one more.
Go ahead, make it.
He says. I didn't hear what he said.
He said, "Make it before I collapse."
Okay.
I've been walking around the house here. My wife wants me to eat. She made me on. I said, "Hold it off."
Okay. He or she. I don't. Cause
nothing beats a wife who makes a sandwich.
It's not signed, so I don't know who it is. But he or she, probably he, would like to know that. Did you feel that the attention, good, bad, or indifferent, that the attention from the Racket to your show at the time, the 1540 show, that it contributed to the buzz around something to say? In other words,
yeah, I think it was good.
We gave him
publicity. The only thing I hated when everybody would try to disguise the voice.
Did they crank call you, though? Because some of them said they crank called you, and we did not condone that. We didn't want them to jam the phones.
I used to get the crank calls, and I figured it was you guys. Who else would be advertising your frequency?
But of course, Howard Stern has his crank callers who call other people's shows.
I was on Howard Stern's show.
Oh, we know.
But I never got in a fight with them. Well, wait a minute. Robin, his sidekick, gave me shit. Don't go by RJ, go by Ron Jones. I said, I'll go by RJ. But I never had a fight. I was with Joey Reynolds. You remember that night? I was on
WOR,
five of the biggest powerhouses in the country. Tell people about that. I was on KFI in Hollywood. I was on all the big powerhouses that Joey Rent sat.
No, I know, but
you remember that night you were listening?
I know, but our listeners only care about the racket, though. They just want to know that.
But you remember me on Joey Rent.
I remember everything, but remember, a lot of our listeners are young.
Remember something Dick Clark.
Our listeners, some of them are young,
Dick
though.
Clark got pissed that we were joking about Dick. Dick calls me up from Hollywood. Why are you and Joey making fun of me? We weren't making fun. We said he wore 3 watches because he used to go back and forth from the West Coast.
Yeah.
He had Central Time Zone on one arm. He had Pacific Coast Time on the other.
Okay, we have, now they're coming in. Okay, another one on Facebook, and Kyle has one too, but I've now one on Facebook who wants to know, you go ahead, Kyle. You have one who's been waiting. Go ahead, Kyle.
Come on, guys.
You got it. So,
Parmesan, chicken Parmesan.
You remember one of our listeners is Josh Coletta, and
yeah, Coletta, the man who made the white wrapper. Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
I remember. I loved it.
And he sent a message and he said he wanted to thank you for your gracious reception of the album cover of the white wrapper.
Yes.
And he was you were very kind, even though it was a riff.
Wrapper. I know it was a riff, but it was fun. It was
right,
fun.
and he was
on my website.
He was flattered by the kind words.
Anybody went to my website? They just
send
me an email. RJ.
It's Jesus.
And company at MSN.com.
So it's not web TV anymore, though.
No, it's at MSN.
They're bankrupt, aren't they?
Yeah.
Anyway,
so he just
another guy I want to say thank you is Joe. Is he still with you? Joe from New York?
Diamond Joe, yes.
Diamond Joe.
He did something very nice for me. He put a RJ, what's it called, Bob?
Joe from the
Disco soundboard. Tell him the voice is off. People have been telling me the voice is off. He made a soundboard with 99. I think it was him.
Yeah. That was Diamond Joe. He made
He
one.
did a hell of a job.
Bob
Thank him
Bowie
for
from
me.
Derby.
Thank you.
We'll be getting your
We will definitely let
Thank you.
yeah.
Go wherever you are.
Hopefully
But
Joe's
the
listening.
The voice is off the soundboard. But it's a good
So you would not, would you,
We had
RJ,
over 8,000 hits on that. That was great.
would you
We
do,
added up our hits last
Diary
night.
of the Mouth.
And just the YouTubes, I'm up to 55,000 this month. I don't know why they'd be watching disco when everybody says disco's dead. It's all bullshit because people do like to watch kids dancing. And remember, those kids that are on my show were 18 or 20. Today they're 45. You know that?
well, yes, of course, it's
Of course.
simple.
Time mooches on, mooches on. How old are your kids? Tell me. How old are you?
Well, mine are 9, 5, and 2.
Oh, God.
Mine are 10 and 7.
10 and 7.
And mine are 3 and 1.5.
And
God, you
room.
guys are loaded with kids.
Well, and that's why we don't have time.
I was the only smart one to stop at 2, RJ.
But if we did have the time, though, let me ask you this, Kyle. What do you think of this? Because RJ doesn't want to drive, and he doesn't want to go to a station, and he doesn't want to do radio anymore. But you can clearly tell that he's still got it. There's still gas in the tank.
I got it. I wanted to talk show. That's what I enjoy.
Okay, so Kyle,
I love to argue with anybody.
What-
I argue with Donald Trump. I argue with Dick Clark. I'll argue with anybody that has a point.
what
If I think I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to say I'm wrong.
Kyle, would
But,
you listen to an
Donald Trump has no business rushing me with Michael Jackson.
It's 25 years
That's my
ago.
hero.
Okay, would you, Kyle, listen to an RJ podcast?
Oh, absolutely. I'd listen
I'm
to anything,
thinking of,
RJ.
somebody suggested that last week. Why don't you put all your disco, because nobody's playing it, a podcast, and they could go to it. But I'd still have to advertise the podcast.
Well, no,
all
because
that
if you
bullshit
did it on the-
let me tell you what I have. I have over 100,000 television shows and radio shows of all natures.
His
Not all
reruns
one
are back on
size.
for 15 weeks.
3/4 inch, half inch, 45, 33 and third. I have more.
I've got about 8
discs.
inches.
I don't have room for them. It's unbelievable. All my TV shows are 3 different ways. As I told you, DVD, 3/4 inch and a half inch, and it's down in the basement I have the 2 inches. But they're not going to be used anymore because they're getting mildew. You remember my blue packs, the blue
Yeah, were the-
2 inches?
They hope they weren't ruined.
Well, they may have to be ruined, but I don't care. I had people patience. They were the masters. Sure, they're ruined. I'm sure I would never done it. Nobody has 2 inch, only a couple companies. And I'm not going to pay to have them transferred. then I have 3/4 inch, I have ½ inch, and I have DVD. Most of my stations around the country are happy with a DVD. And it's cheaper for me to send it by an envelope DVD.
Well,
I'm telling you the truth. I'm not spending money unless they can make me enough money. They sell as many spots as they can.
Well,
I leave 3 breaks, and they put it in.
I know everyone is wanting to know when.
Whoa.
What comes next, though, right, Kyle? That's what people
What
want
comes
to know.
next?
What?
For me?
His mahogany
I
coffin.
guess my casket and my mausoleum.
Nailed it.
I sound too alive to be.
Jeff called it. He said he said a mahogany coffin. Is it really mahogany, or is,
Hey,
is it aluminum?
I'll show it to you guys. I'm sorry I didn't show him when he came over. I'll show
It's
you
not
guys.
pine. I'm sure
I
it's
have
not
solid
pine.
mahogany. It ran me $8,700. The
Wow.
mausoleum ran me $20,000, but I
You
took
see-
it right out of my television station.
I never understood
I had my
$8,700 for a coffin. Why not spend the $8,700 on something you can enjoy while you're alive?
Yeah, that's true, but I have bought Cadillacs galore, 10 Cadillacs.
The Periwinkle is the Periwinkle
I've
Cadillac
had,
still around?
What's the one my brother has now, Robin?
No.
Austin Healy? No, what's the... Ferrari.
Ferrari,
Oh,
no.
nice car.
The Periwinkle Cadillac. That's
I don't
what
need to
everyone
show
wants
off.
to know.
I don't show off.
RJ, do you still have it? Yes or no? The Periwinkle Cadillac.
Yes, I have it parked in the garage.
I loved that car, and Kyle said he
I
didn't
don't
see
even
it.
use it. Don't even use it that much.
Now, can you please tell the listeners, because I've been telling the story because I was there and I know it was true, that of the time 20 or so years ago, more than 20 years ago, when we were driving down to Channel 53, I think it was, in Atlantic City. And I don't remember whether we were on the expressway or the Garden State Parkway, and there was a long backup, and you drove in the median and asked Robin to go out the window and yell, RJ's coming out of the way. Can you confirm yes or no? I was there. I was
never
there.
made my wife holler at me. RJ's coming. I went to 53. I had to do a talk show. I just said, I'm coming through maybe or something.
It was.
But I was late for my talk show. It was a live talk show. Don't you remember?
Yes, I was there. You did the talk show at Channel 53. We went to a McDonald's one night in Rio Grande, New Jersey. And
Absolutely.
You were upset. You remember this. You were upset about how it was taking so long, and you moved to the front of the line, and you said to the manager you were going to bring the TV cameras to expose the restaurant. Do you remember that?
Maybe I did.
I remember it very well.
I meant it maybe.
Was it Dave and Harry?
You take everything too doggone
I
serious.
remember everything.
I remember you.
Yes.
I remember you going crazy with that crazy steering wheel you had. You had the first one that changed radio stations.
That is correct. That is correct. I had the tuner was in the steering wheel for my.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm not lying. I'm
That's
telling
what you remember. It was my Pontiac 6000 STE. It was a gold-colored car, and we went all over the place with it. Yes, that is correct.
And I want to say one thing.
Yes.
Your mother and father should get a Purple Heart for putting up with you with all the accidents you had.
There wasn't any. What the hell are you talking? I didn't have any accidents.
Oh,
you mean the time I
yeah.
drove through that cornfield?
I don't remember. Well,
I was tired.
but I knew you had some problems with accidents.
No. I had a wonderful. I mean, knock on wood. I've been how long? The thousands of miles I do a month. For some reason, it's amazing
now with the kids, I don't think. I'm talking about before you had kids. Before you were married.
Well, I used to drive very fast. I had a heavy foot. I had a heavy foot. Yes. Well,
you had a heavy foot. You said, and your parents were wonderful.
Yes. Well,
I can't say nothing else. They were wonderful to put up with you when you were before you were married.
Oh yes.
Way before you were married.
That is true because we had the studio in the basement.
I go back with you a long time.
That is true.
Now, listen, thanks for having me on. I've had a hell of a ball with you guys.
It has been.
Best of luck on the rest of the show tonight.
Thank you.
All right?
When are we going to see you? Is what everyone's asking.
I'll send a picture.
No. So you're saying that you don't want to ever see us again? Is what you're saying?
I'll see you sometime when I'm in King of Prussia. I'll call you and tell you I'm in Ruby.
I'm almost never.
He just said he hated coming out here.
I know you said
you never go to Ruby. You never go to Ruby?
Not really. I try to avoid that mall as much as I can.
Oh, I do avoid the mall, but it's easy to park there. I go to Ruby's. That's the easy way to get in.
I'm ready to leave.
I'll call you. If you're around, you come. If you're not around, they love me.
I
have no animosity to see you in person.
Okay.
All I can tell you, he came in And he said, I have more hair than you. Ask him.
Very true.
I don't have any hair left.
You don't have any hair. Well, he said, I have more hair than you.
You said,
I do.
10 years ago, 10 years ago on the tirade, you said you were going to lend me one of your wigs, is what you said.
I'll lend you one.
And now, I didn't need it back then. Now
you do need it.
maybe.
Why don't you guys go to the club diner?
Well, you are kind.
Well, I love these people that go around and say, oh, RJ is like Mr. Clean. He's totally bald. I'm not bald. I have a receding hairline in the front, but I put a full wig on. They make a big deal out of anything. Philadelphia has nothing to talk about.
Many of the
and I'm glad that Kyle, Kyle Robinson said, yeah, Kyle, he said it. Boy, Brewster has less hair than you.
Yeah, as I told you when I was there, I can't believe you even have a wig.
Yeah, people tell me, why do I wear it?
Right. I thought you had a nice, decent head of hair.
Yeah, I know. I'll show it to George. I'll take it off for you right in Ruby's. I don't give a damn.
Okay. Well, then maybe that's what we should do, Kyle. You set it up because you've got all of RJ's contact information, right? So you set it up. You set up a meeting at Ruby's or wherever, and we'll make it happen.
Make it up.
I would love to see
no
Robin.
animosity. You take care, guys. Have good health. Take care of the kids, and it's been a ball. You all.
Thank you, and please give
10 years.
Give our best to Robin as well. And
I will say that.
I hope, I don't know, Joe Vitale, is he still around?
He's still around. He comes up and sees me from 1 week to another. He's a wonderful guy.
I always liked seeing Joe Vitale and Robin and everybody else. I ran into, did you know I interviewed, who was it? Steve, the hypnotherapist at,
I remember.
WILN. Yes.
Yeah, the Westchester guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he was on my show on Channel 7.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes. Well, you were kind to come on the show, and you were also kind to say those nice things about my parents. My father is still alive. My father's still very much still around.
Yeah,
so.
I know your grandfather died.
Yes, everyone else's is gone, but my father's still very much alive.
Give them my best regards, okay? You take care, and thank you guys for putting up with me.
It was
on for an hour.
A pleasure. 90 minutes. It was an absolute
90
pleasure.
Minutes.
84 minutes.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again in another 10 years.
We loved it. Thank you. Kyle, you're going to set this up.
Yeah, I will do that. Thank you, RJ. Dino says hello. Oh, he's gone. Goodbye. WLLLLL News. Goodbye.
Okay,
Nailed it.
So that's how it goes.
Amazing.
Post-game thoughts?
It was like we were listening to a WNWR show, but we were part of it.
It was very something to say like. Yes, I thought it was definitely something to say like. So